I never imagined that a simple elevator ride would reveal my heart-wrenching family secret. I will never forget the day everything fell apart. The walls felt like they were closing in, my breath caught in my throat. I stand in the bustling lobby, the chatter of strangers swirling around me, but none of it penetrates the fog in my mind. My fingers tremble as I press the button to go up. The elevator doors slide open with a whisper, and I step inside, heart racing, thoughts a chaotic storm. It was just another day in my life filled with the promise of normalcy. I'd just left my mom at home, her soft laughter echoing in my ears, unaware of the storm brewing within me. My dad had been distant lately, his face a canvas of shadows. My little sister, Ellie, had that innocent smile, unaware of the storm set to break. As the elevator jerks upward, I notice a flicker of light. It's a strange, almost ghostly glow emanating from the corner. A saved voicemail from Dad. My heart aches. I hit play, and suddenly am enveloped by his voice, tinged with fear. "I'm sorry you don't understand, she's not who you think." The jolt of the elevator suddenly stops. Panic surges through me, and the air feels heavy, unbearably still. My palms are clammy against the cold metal. A distant sound echoes, whispers? Moans? What is going on? The lights flicker overhead, and for a moment, I am trapped in this moving tomb. My phone buzzes with a text, "You need to know." I grip the sides of my seat, closing my eyes for a second, hoping to wake up. Instead, I feel the thump of my heart in my chest, each beat a reminder of dread. This isn't happening. This isn't real. But then I remember Ellie's innocent questions about the family photo on the mantel, the one of a woman I don't recognize. "Who's that?" she asked, her bright eyes cutting through my confusion, a child's innocent curiosity turning into a bitter reminder. Moments drag on. The air feels electric. Sudden silence fills the space, yet swallows the sounds of the outside world. I hear a crackle, then a voice, low and gruff. "This isn't just about you." My skin prickles. My mind races. Who's speaking? What does it mean? The unknown seeps in, thick and suffocating. I can't breathe. But then, as if the universe is taunting me, the elevator jerks and starts moving again, the fluorescent lights flickering back to life. Disbelief washes over me. I step out into the hallway, my body frozen between curiosity and fear. What lies ahead? Are my family's secrets buried deeper than I ever imagined? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. I take a tentative step into the hallway, the air thick with unspoken words and looming shadows. My heart races as I glance around, trying to find a familiar face to anchor me, but the world feels unrecognizable. With every step, I can feel the whispers curling around me, taunting me with unyielding questions that threaten to pull me under. What did my dad mean? What could possibly be more important than me? Lost in thought, I barely noticed the faint sound of sniffling until I reached the end of the hall. I stopped dead in my tracks. It's Ellie, huddled against the wall near the stairwell, her small shoulders shaking with the weight of silent tears. My little sister. The weight in my chest doubles as I crouch down to her level, all the shadows of my current reality eclipsed by the light of her innocence. "Ellie?" I whisper, reaching out to brush a tear from her cheek. "What's wrong?" She looks up at me, her blue eyes wide, reflecting an ocean of confusion and sorrow. "I heard Mommy and Daddy fighting. They said things that scared me." Her voice trembles, and in that moment, layers of my own fear peel away, revealing the vulnerability of childhood that I thought I would protect her from forever. Oh, Ellie, I pull her into my arms, enveloping her in warmth. "It's okay, SHHH. They love you." But even as I say the words, doubt snakes through my mind like poison. Do they really? Can any family be whole when secrets destroy trust? Our embrace lingers, and for just a moment, I let myself forget the shadows closing in. I can feel her tiny heartbeat against mine, steady and innocent. She clings to me as if I am her only lifeline, the world slipping away just outside our bubble. But reality intrudes like an unwelcome guest. I pull back to see her face, desperate to shield her from the coming storm. Do you want to go back home? I ask, my voice trembling. No, she says, a stubborn determination blooming in her features. I want to see. I want to know what's wrong. Her boldness shocks me. In her little heart, she knows something is terribly awry, yet she stands brave, ready to face it. With a heavy sigh, I take her hand. Together, we navigate the hallway, each step weighted with uncertainty. Shadows have a way of creeping along the edges of our lives, and I can feel mine tighten as we near the conference room where my parents often held family meetings. Its door stands ajar, light spilling into the corridor like a beacon, yet all we see are silhouettes through the glass, the shadows of my family embroiled in an unseen battle. As we inch closer, I catch snippets of their conversation, each word unraveling a thread in the fabric of my already fragile emotions. My father's voice is raised. You can't just protect them from the truth forever. In trying to shield them from pain. My mother responds, and I feel Ellie stiffen beside me. Shield them? Is hiding reality really protecting them? Another voice joins in, sharper this time. It's Aunt Maria's voice, often drowned out in familial gatherings, but now a surprising presence in this chaos. Suddenly, the familiar clacking of heels signals my mother approaching the door. My entire being jolts like I've been struck by lightning. I pull Ellie back just as she appears in the hall, her expression a mix of fierce determination and unmasked fear. Tell them you love them, I tell Ellie in a low voice, offering her the courage her little frame can scarcely hold. But before she can respond, my mother locks eyes with us, her gaze shifting from shock to sudden understanding. Her expression freezes, just for an instant, and in that moment, a million unspoken thoughts crackle between us. A tidal wave of emotions crashes over her features, and I can see the determination in her eyes. She knows we are about to cross a threshold from which there may be no return. Mommy, what's going on? Ellie asks, her voice holding tight to that innocence that is slipping through my fingers like sand. Before she can reply, the echo of a new voice invades the air, one that seems to devour the brief flicker of hope. I'll tell them, an unfamiliar woman says softly from behind my mother, stepping into view. She bears an unsettling resemblance to me, but her eyes are darker, veiled in a complexity I do not understand. Time freezes as I draw in a sharp breath, heart pounding. This is a revelation I never expected. I'm confronted with the woman from the family photo, stepping into our lives with a quiet authority. Who are you? I manage to spit out, the weight of her presence enough to draw the breath from my lungs. As she meets my gaze, something shifts, a powerful electric charge hanging between us. I can't shake the feeling that her answer will change everything, peeling back the layers of my family's truth and along with it, my understanding of who I am. In that charged silence, the walls of my reality tremble, and I brace for the thunderous storm of revelations I never wanted to witness. I stand frozen, the sound of my own heartbeat deafening in the silence that follows. The woman's presence feels both jarring and eerily familiar, as if she stepped out of a story I never wanted to read. I see my mother's lips quiver, the fight leaving her as she takes a small, faltering step back. Who are you? I repeat, my voice trembling as I clutch Ellie's small hand tightly, trying to shield her from the storm brewing around us. I am Rebecca, she says, her voice a haunting melody that reverberates against the walls, both delicate and resolute. Your real sister. The revelation hangs in the air, a fragile glass ornament poised to shatter. My breath stutters, an involuntary gasp escaping my lips as I glance at my mother. Her eyes are wide, glistening with unshed tears that glimmer in the harsh light above us. I feel Ellie's grip slacken as she looks between us, sensing the thick tension that promises to burst. I can't process her words. My mind races, desperately trying to make sense of this unexpected twist. No, I murmur, shaking my head, my heart slamming against my ribs painfully. This can't be true. You don't have another sister. You're lying, Bella, please, my mother pleads, her voice wavering, filled with a vulnerability I've never seen before. Let her explain. Explain what? I shoot back, anger igniting like dry kindling. That my whole life has been a lie? That I've been living in a family filled with secrets? The truth unravels inside me like a brutal tempest, the comfort I once found in my family suddenly scattering like leaves in a storm. Bella, I hear Aunt Mary's voice, gentle yet firm as she steps out of the shadows. This isn't easy for any of us, but there are truths that should have been spoken long ago. I can't bear to look at my family right now. I focus on the woman who has thrown everything into disarray. Why now? I demand, my voice cracking under the weight of 1,000 questions. Why are you here now? What do you want from us? Rebecca's expression softens, and for a fleeting moment, I see the fear shading her features, the fear of being unwanted. Tuvi spent years trying to find you. After your mother and father brought you home, I was adopted, but I always felt incomplete without knowing if you were okay. If you knew I existed. Her voice trembles, each word echoing like gunshots in my already fractured world. Stop, I interrupt, barely able to contain the anger and disbelief swelling within me. You can't just come here and drop this bombshell and expect me to believe you. You're a stranger. I hear Ellie sniffling softly beside me, and the sound pierces through my rage like a knife through flesh. She's too young for any of this, too innocent to be forced to grapple with truths that should have stayed buried. In a lower voice, Rebecca adds, I know this isn't fair, but your mother had to make some impossible choices. I didn't want to hurt you, enough. My voice carries through the hallway, echoing painfully as I try to reclaim control over my spiraling emotions. All of this, it's too much. Tears threaten to spill down my cheeks, and I wipe them away angrily, turning away from the chaos unfolding in front of me. How could my parents do this to us? To me? As I grapple with my swirling emotions, a knot of fear grips my gut. The fear of losing the only family I've known and the certainty that my landscape is shifting uncontrollably underneath my feet. In that moment, as I close my eyes to breathe through the anger and hurt, I feel a small hand tug at my sleeve. I look down to see Ellie, her eyes wide, her expression filled with a sadness that cuts deeper than the words exchanged. Bella, she whispers, her voice a soft plea amidst the turbulence. Does this mean we're not a family anymore? I collapse to my knees in front of her, the weight of the world crashing down as I wrap my arms around her, holding her close as if my embrace can shield her from this raging storm. I don't have the answers she needs, and the truth behind her question pierces my heart. We are family, Ellie, I whisper hoarsely, using every ounce of strength to keep my own composure. We will always be family. But inside, I feel the fracture spreading, the foundation of my life shaking. Just as I'm about to reassure both her and myself that we will figure this out together, I notice Reverend Harrison standing at the doorway, his expression grave. The breath catches in my throat as my stomach drops. Sorry to interrupt, he says, but his presence demands attention. We need to talk about the next steps before the authorities get involved. My heart sinks deeper, caught in a quagmire of fear and desperation. The piece of me that clung to hope shatters like glass, each fragment slicing through the thin veil of normalcy I clung to. What do you mean? What's happening? I ask, panic rising sharply. We need to address the situation regarding Rebecca and the circumstances of her adoption and stop. I shout, mood swinging wildly between anger and dread. It seems there is a darkness creeping in from beyond the door, swallowing up every bit of light we have left. But as I look around, I see fear mirrored in my family's eyes, and deep down I know we are standing at the precipice of something that may tear us apart forever. Do you really think we should have talked about secrets? Rebecca challenges. In that charged silence, the walls of everything I thought I knew threaten to collapse, and I brace myself for whatever storm this new revelation will unleash. The weight of the revelation hangs suffocatingly in the air, filling the space with a tension so thick it feels like I could slice through it with a knife. I can barely breathe, feeling as if the walls are closing in on me. The memories of family dinners, movie nights, my mother's laughter, all of it now tainted with this agonizing uncertainty. I pull Ellie closer, trying to shield her from the chaos, to shield myself from the inevitable fallout. Bella, Aunt Marie begins, her tone trembling with urgency. We can't let fear dictate our actions. We need to stop trying to placate her. I shout, the frustration bubbling over. This is my life we're talking about. It's easy to talk about next steps when none of this affects you directly. When the truth shatters everything, tears stream down my face as I wrestle with the conflicting emotions swirling inside me. I might be 13, but I feel the weight of an adult's grief, betrayal, and confusion pressing painfully against my chest. The confusion twists into anger again, and doubts creep in, eroding the solid ground of my childhood. Could everything I believed be so easily undone? The Reverend looks sympathetic but holds his ground firm, as if he's preparing to be the anchor amidst the storm. We all want what's best for you, Bella. But the truth won't disappear if we ignore it. We need to face this together. At what cost? I whisper, still hunched over Ellie, feeling small and fragile. What does together even mean when there are so many lies between us? Rebecca stands just a few feet away, her face etched with sorrow and regret. I never wanted to come between you, Bella. I wanted to protect you enough. The word crackles like thunder, reverberating down the hallway. It feels like a moment suspended in time, and my heart races, fear and ache swirling together in a tempest. Then, unexpectedly, amid the brewing storm, a flicker of hope ignites in the darkness. A small voice breaks through the heavy silence. I think she's brave for finding us, she says softly, looking at Rebecca with wide, innocent eyes. Maybe she didn't mean for it to be like this. I turn to Ellie, aghast that she could see something I can't. My heart aches for her innocence, for the pure way she views the world despite the upheaval. I want so desperately to protect her from all of this, but as I watch her speak, there's an unexpected weight lifting. Perhaps this moment of kindness, however small, is an unexpected lesson, one that my sister might be trying to extend. Suddenly, there's a knock on the door, a sharp reminder that life continues even as we teeter on the edge of our unraveling. A moment later, the door swings open, and a uniformed officer steps into the room. We received a call about a disturbance, he states, his expression unyielding. Is everything all right? I freeze, the sense of foreboding thickening in the air as all eyes turn toward him. My breath hitches. The very presence of law enforcement strikes fear deep into my gut. We are exposed, fragile. The officer's gaze glides over Rebecca and settles on me, the turmoil evident on my face. It's Aunt Marie who finds her voice first, turning to the officer with a nervous plaster of a smile that crumbles under his watchful eye. We're just having a family discussion, she explains, feigning calm. Discussion? The officer raises an eyebrow, his voice grave. I need to know what exactly is going on here. Is anyone in danger? The question lingers, each person in the room shifting uncomfortably as the weight of the situation bears down upon us. No, I say finally, finding defiance in my fear. No one is in danger. A flicker of hope extinguishes within me, however briefly, as I utter those words. But as I look back at Rebecca, the vulnerability in her expression sends a shockwave through my heart. What if there's more to this story? What if, at any moment, our lives could unravel in ways we haven't even begun to fathom? The officer's stern eyes search mine, and it feels as though he sees right through the facade we're trying to maintain. Just then, I notice an unusual movement in the corner of the room, Rebecca's hands trembling noticeably as she clutches the edges of her coat, and then, as if in slow motion, she takes a step forward, something bright and desperate flashing in her eyes, a secret, perhaps, one that could change everything, and just before she can speak, another knock on the door interrupts. Before I can process the wave of emotions that crash over me, my heart begins to race with the dread of what could come next. The door swings open again, and another figure stands there, silhouetted against the light, and my stomach drops as I recognize the face. Bella, my father's voice rings out, heavy and strained. We need to talk. This time, trapped in the whirlwind of faces filled with turmoil, I know one thing for sure: the truth is darker than the lies that bind us, and as each revelation dances closer, I can no longer keep my heart from splintering apart. The moment my father's voice cuts through the air, an electric jolt pulses through the room. The world seems to come to a halt as I face the man I've spent my last 13 years idolizing, the same man whose absence sent ripples of longing through the fabric of our family. Dad? The word escapes my lips like a whisper, filled with confusion and hope wrapped in fear. My heart races, skittish and unsure, as I take a step toward him, my instincts urging me to bridge the gap between us. He stands frozen in the doorway, the weight of his expression heavy enough to shatter glass. Behind him, the hallway stretches into darkness, a shadowy reminder of everything that's been left unspoken, unresolved. The officer eyes him warily, his posture shifting slightly, sensing the tension rising like storm clouds above us. I need to speak with you, Bella. Alone, he declares, the urgency tangible in his voice. Is this really the best time? Aunt Marie interjects, her voice trembling but firm, as if trying to weave a protective barrier around me. We're in the middle of something important. Marie, this isn't just another family discussion, he replies, his gaze unwavering as it lands on me again, echoing a depth of concern I can't fully fathom. I'm here to help, but it's crucial you hear me out. Things are complicated. And my mind races back to the frailty of the last few minutes. Every accusation hurled, every tear shed, and now, an escalation that feels dangerous yet magnetic. My father's presence draws me in like a moth to the flame, but underneath that allure lurks a fear of what he might reveal. Help me with what? I challenge, my voice sharper than I intended, trying to anchor my emotions. You left. You weren't there when all of this started unraveling. Please, just trust me, he breathes, his voice thick with emotion packed into every syllable. It's the kind of plea that makes walls tremble and cracks appear in facades. Rebecca shifts uncomfortably, her hands still shaking as she seems torn between my father and me. You need to listen to him, Bella. He's right, she whispers, her eyes pleading with an urgency I can't comprehend. No! I shout, a wave of anger crashing over me, sending shockwaves through the silence. You don't get to decide what I need. Not after everything. Not when what? My father interrupts softly, his expression unreadable. Bella, please. If you care about the truth, if you care about us, I need you to let me speak. Something in his tone breaks through my fortress of anger, a glimmer of vulnerability hidden beneath the layers of years and unvoiced emotions. Could it be that he holds the key to the mystery enveloping our family, the truth that I have, for so long, wished to uncover? I relent softly, words pouring out against my will. But you have to promise it's not another lie. As I step forward, I feel Ellie's hands slip into mine, squeezing gently like a lifebuoy thrown into a churning sea. Her little fingers remind me that even in the thick of chaos, there's still some semblance of hope drawing us together, a tether of love that might just withstand the fallout. The officer stiffens, his eyes darting between my father and me, uncertainty flickering across his face. Listen, I can't just leave you all here like this, he states, noting the mounting tension in the air. I'm going to need the situation to stabilize before I go. I know you're just trying to do your job, my father replies, a nervous edge creeping into his voice. But this conversation, serious as it is, needs to happen. Bella deserves to hear the truth, no matter how painful. As I look around at the faces my journey has revealed to me, Aunt Marie, Rebecca, the officer, my father, Ellie, I realize we are all united in this turmoil, trapped between secrets and uncertain futures. The warmth of Ellie's hand begins to fade as I release it, my heart racing again as I try to grasp what lies ahead. Fine. Then let's talk. I choke out, biting back the tears that threaten to spill again. But on one condition: no more secrets, no more excuses, just the truth now. My father nods, solemnly accepting the weight of my words. And as he inches closer, I brace myself for the unraveling that is surely to come, aware now that with each step we take toward clarity, the shadows of our past loom larger than before, a looming darkness that threatens to swallow us whole. But then, just as his mouth opens to begin, a scream erupts from outside, distant but piercing, a jagged note that slices cleanly through the tense atmosphere. I freeze, sensing a shift in the air, as the officer immediately turns toward the door, his instincts honing in on the noise like a predator. Stay here, he orders before bursting back into the hallway, leaving us hanging on the edge of a precipice, a cliff of unknown revelations teetering dangerously close to a wild storm of unpredictable truths and heartache. In that fraught moment, I realize once again that the world outside is still alive, still spinning with chaos, and we remain trapped within our own turmoil, awaiting the next upheaval that might tear us apart, an unsettling cliffhanger poised to plunge us deeper into the abyss. As silence descends upon us, the tension transforms into a restless anticipation that gnaws at my insides. I glance at my father, his face painted with worry, and then at Aunt Marie, who has closed her eyes as if trying to will the chaos outside to vanish. Ellie stands close by, sensing the uncertainty that fills the room, her innocent expression shielding her from the tempest brewing around us. That scream and echo, a cry for help, a reminder of the fragility of our world reverberates in my mind, pushing against the fragile barrier of my emotions. Just moments ago, I was ready to glean the truth from my father, to plunge into the depths of our shared past. Now, we wait with bated breath as dark shapes flitter outside the doorway. The officer's departure feels like a damning verdict, leaving us entwined in a web of unuttered words and half-revealed tensions. Bella, my father tries again, but the word hangs heavy in the air, swift and fleeting. Something dreadful has just eclipsed our moment of potential reconciliation. The ear-splitting scream is followed by a cacophony of shouting and indistinct noises. The clamor seems to claw at the edges of the housing complex, spreading like wildfire through the hallways. What's happening? I whisper, my heart thrumming more violently with every distant sound that reaches us. The thought of a stranger threatening the already fractured peace fills me with dread. It might be a disturbance, Aunt Marie mutters, her voice shaky. Stay close, Bella. Just stay close. As if on cue, another shout rings out, followed by a thud that shakes the very foundation we're standing on. This is no ordinary scuffle or argument. Something far more sinister is unfolding outside our door. My stomach tightens, and I clench my fists as a primal fear threatens to take hold. We need to leave, I say, surprising myself with the conviction in my voice. It's a cry for action, a fight against the paralyzing uncertainty. We can't just wait here while whatever is happening out there could come for us. What do you mean leave? My father asks, a flicker of alarm crossing his face. What about what? About the truth you were just about to share. How about we put that on hold because of whatever chaos is brewing out there? I snap, feeling the desperation overflow. For all we know, it could be anything or anyone. A sharp breath from Rebecca interrupts my tirade. The tension radiating from her is almost palpable. We can't go out there, she whispers. What if it's dangerous? Not knowing is just as dangerous, Rebecca. I retort, a wave of frustration pouring out of me. We have to face it together. We can't let fear trap us in this place. Ellie tugs at my shirt, her eyes wide and fearful, and I reconcile within myself the need to protect her, to ward off whatever threatens to shatter the fragile peace that we're trying to rebuild. Maybe venturing into chaos is the only way to reclaim control over the simple happiness we fought to hold on to. Just then, the officer bursts back into the room, his uniform slightly disheveled, panic dancing in his eyes. You have to come with me, he commands, urgency lacing through his voice. There's been an incident. We need to evacuate everyone. An incident? I echo, disbelief flowing through me like ice water. What kind of incident? There's been a disturbance. An individual has been reported injured, and others have reacted violently. We can't stay here, he urges, the gravity of his words crashing over us like a tidal wave. Dad, I turn to him, the anchor to whom I would cling even as the world spirals into chaos. What do we do? Stick together, he says, his voice resolute, but I see vulnerability leaking into his gaze. We can face whatever's out there as long as we stay united. My heart flutters at his words, and although fear coils tightly around my chest, a flicker of hope ignites within me. This moment, despite its immediate peril, feels like a test, a call to stand up against everything we've endured, to confront not just the unknown outside but the truths we've buried within ourselves. Determined, I form a chain of hands, taking Ellie's small one in mine, reaching for Rebecca and then for Aunt Marie. My father joins the link, fortifying our united resolve. I can feel their heartbeat against my palm as we process the tumultuous reality unfolding around us, the weight of our shared struggles and the unwavering need to protect one another. With a deep breath, I nod toward the officer, willing us to step forward into the uncertainty. As we move toward the door, the echoes of chaos grow more pronounced, the reality of the danger lurking outside a stark juxtaposition to the truths yet to come to light. In that moment, fear and hope meld within me, an explosive concoction surging toward a precipice without clear resolution. Then, just as we reach the doorway, a voice calls from the shadows, sharp and familiar. "Bella! Wait!" It pierces through the din, startling us into a standstill. I turn, heart pounding, as a figure stumbles out from the chaos. At first glance, the person is a blur smeared with blood, panic etched across their face. But then recognition floods over me, crashing like waves as I grasp who they are, someone who knows too much, someone linked to the destinies we've been running from. The alarming truth I feared is suddenly staring back at me, and in a heartbeat, all I can wonder is, what more have they left us to endure? As the figure stumbles forward, my heart races with a chaotic blend of emotions: fear, recognition, and an indescribable dread. The familiar face brings with it a tidal wave of memories, regrets, and a sense of betrayal I thought I could leave behind. It's me childhood friend, the one person who knew the intricacies of my family's past, who shared my laughter and my secrets. Now he stands before us like a ghost resurfacing from a buried past, drenched in the chaos spilling from our doorway. "Bella!" He calls again, his voice raw and desperate, as if every syllable is laboring under the weight of his revelation. "You have to listen to me, Noah. What happened?" I manage to stammer, shock rooting me to the spot. I can see the blood, a stark contrast against his pale skin, and my heartbeat thunders like a warning bell in my chest. There's something you need to know," he gasps, staggering slightly as if the weight of his words is physically debilitating. "I didn't want to come back like this. But they won't stop until they get what they want. You're in danger, Bella." The officer steps forward, his brow furrowed with a mix of concern and urgency. "We need to get everyone out, now," he insists, a new level of determination in his tone as he glances between Noah and me, gauging the situation. "But he needs help," I plead, torn between the instinct to embrace him and the reality that we are standing at the precipice of danger. "What did you get yourself into, Noah? Who's after you?" He opens his mouth, words trembling on the edge of a scream, but for a moment he falters, lost in thoughts that flicker like flame in his eyes. Then, as if summoned by some dark force, a distant roar erupts outside, angry voices, the clash of something heavier, and my heart sinks further into a pit of anxiety. "They're out for blood." He finally exhales, urgency bleeding into every syllable. "You don't understand, this ties back to your parents, Bella. They know the truth, and they think." He stumbles, eyes darting toward the doorway where shadows loom, thickening the air with palpable menace. "Think what?" I press, but a sudden noisy, a chilling scream rings out from behind him, and I feel every muscle in my body tighten. "We can't talk here. Please, we need to leave," he begs, his hands trembling as he gestures to the door. "It'll explain everything. But we won't survive this if we stay. The more you know, the more danger you're in." Aunt Mary's grip on Ellie tightens, her face a mask of dread. I can feel the youngest among us crumple under the weight of confusion and fear. The stark contrast of our lives stretching back to innocence crashes against the unsettling truths we're now forced to confront. "Just come with me. We can figure this out," Noah pleads, taking a staggered step closer, his urgent energy sparking something between fight and flight. But I start, but deep down, I already know. To turn my back on him now would mean giving into the darkness that threatens to engulf us. "We have no choice, Bella," my father interjects, firm yet tinged with worry. "Think carefully. We have to prioritize Ellie's safety." I glance down at Ellie, her small hand still gripping mine, terrified but resolute. She deserves to know sunshine, not the shadows we're tangled in. But Noah's eyes scream of danger and of truths waiting to spill like the blood staining his shirt. "Noah, how do you know all this?" I ask,